Grand Rising. Happy Monday. I hope everybody's having a positive, productive, peaceful start to your day today. If not, I pray that your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course the Most High help you with that today. I also pray that He clothes us in His armor from head to toe, that He strengthens our discernment and guides our steps as we go throughout this day. That being said, we're going to start out with a morning prayer. We haven't been doing that, and that's, of course, my fault, but we're going to get back into that. I've gotten my prayer cards back out, so that's what we're going to start with, is a morning prayer. Then we'll get into our mantras and affirmations for the day. And I'm going to try to get back in the habit of doing the daily devotionals as well. It's really taken me a while to adjust to being back to work. It's taken me a lot longer than I thought it would. But a lot of that has to do with the fact my schedule isn't like a set schedule. So it's hard to get a routine in place when your schedule's constantly changing. Okay. These cards are big and I'm not used to handling them anymore. It has been a crisp, chill morning in my area today. It's been nice this morning. I had the back door open for quite some time, but Darlin found some kind of critter or lizard or something that she was digging after, so I had to bring her in and close the door. All right, we got a whole stack, but I'm just going to take the top one. For the Spirit of God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. 2 Timothy 1, chapter 1, verse 7. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid. You know, we talk about that a lot, standing firm in your beliefs, standing up for yourself. You know, you don't necessarily have to do it in a cruel way, but at the same time, it's important to have the self-discipline to hold those boundaries. Don't be timid in your beliefs. Don't be timid in your dreams and your goals. All right, let's get our morning mantra. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7 was that prayer. I can spend my day feeling daunted, or I can spend it climbing over the thing that's daunting me. If I'm going to spend, it might as well be a good investment. Grand Rising, happy Monday. I hope everybody's having a positive, productive, peaceful start to your day today. So, you know, whatever it is that you're trying to overcome, that mountain that you're trying to climb, you know, making smart investments with your time, being aware of things that may not be a good investment of your time, working smarter, not harder. You know, for some of us, especially with the way the world is changing, you know, we're used to doing things the old way. And yes, the old way works, but, you know, you can find easier ways of doing things. I can spend my day feeling daunted, or I can spend it climbing over the thing that's daunting me. So you can wallow in your sadness, or you can, you know, try to look at things from a different perspective and find a way out of that sadness. All right, let's get our grief affirmation for the day. We never lose the ones we love, even to death. They carry on in every thought, act, and decision we make. Everything from the lessons that they taught us, the memories that we shared with them, the love that our passed over loved ones shared with us. we can carry that love within us and share it not only with others, but with ourselves. Knowing that when someone truly loves you, even when they're gone, they don't want you to wallow in the sadness. Going back to what we were talking about earlier. Find the positive in a situation. Find a way to share that love and that care with other people. You know, remembering that we've all suffered some kind of loss. Whether it's a family member, a friend, a coworker, you know, when we were in school, a fellow student. And sometimes those memories and those emotions come flooding back to us when we least expect it. But it's how we react. It's how we handle those emotions in that moment that really says a lot. Maybe that's something that you're struggling to overcome. We all have those moments where, you know, we get triggered and we're not really sure how to deal with it. Listen to your heart, but at the same time, listen to your intuition. Forgiveness. Forgiving ourselves. So I've said it for a long time. Self-forgiveness is the hardest part. Healing comes from acceptance. Help me, dear divine, to fully accept what is, knowing that this alone will help me to the new. So being able to look at things from a higher perspective, with offering the forgiveness. You got solitude on the bottom of the deck. Positivity on the top of the deck. What did I just say? Finding the positive in a negative situation. Remembering that forgiving somebody else doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't wrong, or, you know, that what they did was okay. The forgiveness is more for you. You know, that old saying, unforgiveness is like drinking the poison and expecting it to hurt the other person. When we carry that bitterness around with us, it causes more harm to us than it does to the other person. Sometimes that forgiveness, unfortunately, doesn't come until we take the time to find our solitude and really sit and think about. Because a lot of times we say we've forgiven a situation or a person, even that person could be ourselves, and we really haven't. Solitude. Once you embrace the inner divine and your own sacred solitude, the right people arrive at the right time. Exactly on schedule, without forcing or chasing. Sometimes it takes somebody else coming into our lives and helping us see things from a different perspective, to help us forgive or to encourage us to go into that place of solitude. Positivity. If you can find even one thing to be grateful for, it will restore you to the light. Please, dear divine, let me always feel gratitude for something, even a tiny thing, in even the hardest situation. And this card has birds in it. Grand Rising, happy Monday. Anytime I think of the birds, you know, it speaks to us about the birds in scripture, but birds, you know, a tornado could come and wipe out their nest and wipe out the town, and they wake up the next morning and they just get back to work. You know, they sing their way through the day, working through whatever trials, tribulations, loss that you're dealing with. We all have mountains to climb. Your mountain might look different than mine, but it may still require some of the same attributes and skills and understanding and knowledge. It's important for us to be able to look at things from a different perspective, not only to help us on our journey, but so that we can share the knowledge we've gained with other people and try to help them on their journey as well. I've been here the last couple days. I haven't really looked into what's happening with like the planets and the atmosphere and stuff like that, but I've been super emotional the last couple days. I don't know if that applies to anybody else, but fourth chakra, heart chakra, radiate warmth and sincerity. Yeah, that's kind of what we were just talking about. I'm open to sharing, accepting, communicating, and connecting with others. As I focus on this moment, not the past or the future, being in the present, a smile, a kind hearted way of speaking, or a hug goes a long way towards uplifting others. I offer care and support where I can without rescuing. I nurture and respect my relationships. You know, we talk about that with every video. Don't be timid. Going back to our scripture of the day, 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. Don't be timid. You know, be good to people. Don't be afraid to share that love and your positive energy with other people. Going back to what I already said, you never know what other people are dealing with. You never know what's going on behind closed doors. And only because we didn't get to do them the last video, I'm going to kind of switch things around a little bit. And we're going to start with the animal spirit and the herbal astrology. And then we'll get into the affirmations. But it's been a while since I've done a video. And the last video I did, we didn't get to pull from these cards because I had to work that day. Pretty sure. That's why we had to cut it short. But nonetheless, remember to keep your mindset positive. When you wake up in the morning, try, if you have a tendency to lean into that negative frame of mind where, you know, you're thinking about, oh, I got to get all this done, I got to go in early, you know, whatever the case is, we have a tendency to do that. Try to make it a practice to like stop. Practice that pause that we talk about so much and make a conscious effort to change your thought pattern. You know, whether that means starting out with prayer, words of gratitude, you know, just thanking the divine for the day, being thankful that you woke up this morning. That in itself is something to be grateful for. Everything else falls below that for sure. We got beaver that flipped over, whale on the bottom of the deck, and hummingbird on the top of the deck. Ow. Water, and I'm pretty sure hummingbird is air. I've always been very intrigued by beavers. Beavers are very known to be very hardworking. All right. Yes, beaver and whale are both water energy. Beaver could also be related to, in some aspect, with earth energy because they do work with the trees and with nature. All right, hard worker, loyal, tireless, and family first. The beaver personality is a welcomed sight. These good-natured and dependable creatures have infinite love and enthusiasm for family and express it by way of the earth element. What did I just say? Providing a home and financial stability. Although a beaver doesn't usually initiate a project, once started, they'll work steadily for weeks, months, or years to see it through. The beaver card appears when the task at hand requires long-term, steady effort. It can also signify that it's time for some karma yoga. Selfless service. When in balance, happy, meaningful work. When out of balance, feels useless and worn out. To bring into balance, physical labor and selfless service. So sharing that love, those acts of kindness with other people. Going back to what we already talked about. You know, maintaining that happy, meaningful energy. To the point to where you have some to spare. You know, once you keep your cup full for so long to where it starts to overflow, you have enough to share with other people, right? All right, whale, desire to delve deeper, profound peace, and ancient wisdom. The whale represents profound emotional health and stability. Whale personalities are not afraid of emotional expression or traversing difficult terrain, as they have overcome many challenges in their lives. These experiences have enriched them, given them stability, strength, and a depth that is rare. Whale energy is usually linked to the feminine forces of compassion and communication. We can depend on whale personalities when all else seems lost, and trust them to be a beacon in our darkest hour. When in balance, calm, steady, and deeply compassionate. When out of balance, heavy, slips into the old story. To bring into balance, regular self-care. That very much connects with the chakra affirmation that we got, the fourth chakra, which is the heart chakra. Radiate warmth and sincerity. That basically equals into compassion. Having compassion for yourself, having compassion for other people. Going back to the whole self-love, self-care. When you love yourself well enough, you have love to spare that you can share with others. And self-love is different for everybody. It depends on what needs you need to have met. All right, hummingbird. Positive, enthusiastic, spiritually resourceful. Inside the tiny hummingbird resides an endless well of energy and positivity. The hummingbird's secret is that it has learned where to gather nectar, and it returns to these sources daily for nourishment and rejuvenation. Going back to what we talked about at the beginning of the video about having a routine, that equals having a routine of self-care, finding what works and going back to what works. No matter how simple it may seem, if it helps, if it works, then, it would be in our best interest to keep going back to that, right? To that source. This sacred elixir involves nature, creativity, and exploring spirituality. Follow the way of the hummingbird and you cannot go wrong. Every droplet of life becomes sweet. Every moment worth savoring. When in balance, smart, curious, and loves to learn. When out of balance, pushy, insistent, and sharp. To bring into balance, take a class. We talk about that often, about always being open to learning new things. Whether that's taking a class, whether, it's just learning tidbits of information from random people throughout your days. Don't be that type of person that thinks that they know everything. Be willing and open to learning new things. You never know the benefits that may come from that. All right, now we'll go with the herbal astrology. And one very important part of self-care is what you consume. It's a very big part of it because we consume things in so many different ways. What are you consuming as far as like the people you surround yourself with? What are you consuming by the environments that you're putting yourself in? What are you consuming as far as your nutrition? What are you drinking? What are you eating? What chemicals are you using in your home? What chemicals are in the things that you're putting in your body? Self-care comes on many different levels, and you can look at it from several different perspectives. Once again, my needs may be different than your needs. Once you go through a basic detox, which basically involves at one point or another detoxing from almost everything. Hibiscus is what flipped over. I love hibiscus. Number 14, joy. But we also got 26, revival. 39 breakthrough, and 52 lemon balm nurture. Lemon balm, ginkgo, and cordyceps. This one has an eagle in the picture with mountains. We were already talking about mountains this morning. You know, we all have different mountains to climb, burdens to bear, crosses to carry, however you want to say it. It means the same thing. Ginkgo, I just recently got my ginkgo. I've started using that in my tea. Holding the sword of truth, there's a crow in this picture. And if you look at the sleeve on this arm, it's got stars. It's a blue to me. I always think of Archangel Michael. And then lemon balm, nurture, number 52. I literally just put lemon balm in my cart on Amazon. She had there's honeybees in this picture. She's holding a staff that looks like, I can't think of what kind of mushroom that is right off the top of my head. But there's a mushroom that looks like that. And it looks like there might be 3 bees in this picture. 1, 2, 3. And then hibiscus 14 joy, which is the one that actually flipped over, has a hummingbird in this picture. And we already got a hummingbird. There's actually 2 hummingbirds in this picture. One here and one here. So hummingbird energy for sure. So that's the one that we'll read is hibiscus. Number 14, which breaks down to a 5. Upright, nectar, grace, sensuality, beauty, divine feminine, nurturing, creativity, abundance. Astrological ruler, Venus and Pluto. In ancient Egypt, hibiscus tea was commonly used to lower body temperature, as a diuretic, and to treat heart and nerve disease. In Africa, it was used as a gastrointestinal healer, as it helped with constipation and liver support. In Hindu mythology, hibiscus is closely associated with the goddess Kali, the dark goddess of death, time, and change. Red hibiscus flowers are often presented as offerings to Kali, representing divine consciousness. In Mexico and Central America, it has been used to make healing juices for hundreds of years. Primarily used as a tea and poultice, hibiscus has been used in beauty rituals, particularly as a face wash, as it nurtures and tightens the skin, nourishes and tightens the skin. Central American midwives have used it during birth and post-birth to tighten the uterus and assist with excess bleeding. Due to its astringent properties, a pulp of the leaves helps heal wounds and incisions. Hibiscus, ruled by Venus, embodies the power of the divine feminine, grace, beauty, creativity, and harmony. Venusian herbs are those that tone the cardiovascular system, reproductive system, the blood, kidneys, thyroid, and parathyroid. Hibiscus dissolves blockages in the first and second energetic centers, opening which are your chakras, opening the channels at the base of the spine, reproductive centers, and lower back. Guidance. Like hibiscus, you emanate the essence of Venetian grace. You hold and cradle life. You are the nurturer. Your presence brings renewal and joy to others. Express your creativity to keep attracting this colorful energy back to you. Like the hummingbird, you are a creature of nectar, a conduit of divine love and joy. Reversed hummingbird may represent the inability to see the many blessings you've been given. Don't shy away from your power. You are worthy of all of it. Follow the dance of the hummingbird. Journey into your sadness and know that this pain is just a thread within the fabric of joy. the bitter and the sweet. Being able to find joy even in moments of trial, even in moments of hardship, loss, whatever it is, being able to still maintain your joy, that knowing that this too shall pass. We have to experience the bitter to be able to appreciate the sweet. When you've been down and you come back up, you tend to appreciate and find the positive even during the difficult and trying days. So, joy, revival, breakthrough, and nurture. Going back to the self-care, nurturing yourself, loving yourself through the hard times. You know, we talk about it here a lot. Self-love is so important. If you're not able, we teach people how to treat us. And if we're constantly, talking down on ourselves, even if it's not in front of other people, we're projecting that energy out there. And so it's going to come back to us through other people. All right, now we're going to pull from the Angels of Abundance. Yes, I realize that some days are harder than others, but you can spend your day feeling daunted, or you can spend it climbing over that mountain that's daunting you. You can either sit there in the shadow of the mountain and be cold and alone, or you can start climbing that mountain. And who knows who you'll meet along the way, what experiences you might have that can turn everything around. But if you just sit and stay stuck in one spot, whether that's literally, emotionally, physically, metaphysically, spiritually, whatever that is, if you choose to stay in that one spot, nothing's going to change. Movement is required for change to occur. That's just a given. Dreams of abundance and sever vows of poverty wanted to show themselves. We want one to actually flip out, though. And if you give up on yourself, it's very hard to find other people that are willing to help you restore that. Cooperation instead of competition. It is safe for you to receive and visualize abundance in all forms. You got to focus on your priorities on the bottom of the deck, so don't get distracted. Face your financial fears. For a lot of us, unfortunately, we have tried and been unsuccessful so many times that it's like it takes so much extra effort to try again. Every time you fall and get back up, it seems a little harder. But that's okay. It makes you stronger through the process. It's safe for you to receive. The more you allow yourself to receive, the more resources you have available to share with others. Open your arms to receive and be a conduit for good coming to you and through you as it blesses the world. Double confirmation on the conduit energy. It's popped up on my feed several times, over the past couple months, but it's where, and I've said it for years really, but just kind of like a confirmation for me and to share with you. Sometimes we are the good that is brought into somebody else's life. We used to talk about it a lot, how, sometimes people come into our lives for a season, but there's a reason for the season. And that could be to benefit, both sides of the fence, to where you're there to bring good in somebody else's life, and in return they share something good with you, whether that's knowledge, whether that's acts of kindness, acts of service, you know, learning something new, sharing knowledge, whichever way it goes. Visualize abundance in all forms. She's got, in this other card, she's got deer with her in this picture. Deer and a white dove. That's a tassel, not a bird. There's no animals in this picture. God gave you such great spiritual power that everything you visualize eventually becomes reality. Hold a steady vision of that which is beautiful, healthful, positive, and filled with blessings. And that is what you will receive. That kind of goes back to what I talked about earlier about when you wake up in the morning, setting those positive intentions. If you have a tendency to, go into that mindset of complaining or, okay, for us older people, when we wake up, we're kind of achy and kind of stiff. And, I've, over the last couple weeks, gotten to where, I do like a little short stretch routine when I wake up to help my body kind of get moving a little bit better. You can do the same thing with your mind, just like you can with your body. Really take just a few minutes to just let your mind kind of wander and see where it goes. And if you're the type of person that has a tendency to veer more towards the negative, really put in the effort and pay attention and take the time to turn that around so that you can get your day started on the right foot. All right, and then cooperation instead of competition. There's 3 of them in this picture, and they're playing instruments. Music can be some of the best therapy. What's yours is yours, and no one can take it from you. There's no need to compete, as there's an abundance for all. You have complete access to unlimited abundance for yourself and to share with others. With cooperative partnerships, you can accomplish anything. I don't know why, but that's making me think about something that happened the other day at work. A woman I encountered was talking about, the different stores and how, restaurants, like McDonald's does the Ronald McDonald House, different companies. It was 33:33 on the timer. Different companies ask for donations for different, programs. And she was talking about how she can't believe that, with as hard as things have gotten financially around the world, that there's so many people asking for donations and for money. And I was really kind of baffled about the statement. And I thought, wow, it's not like they're making you give. You have a choice whether you donate or not. If you're not financially able to do it, then you don't. And I told her, I said, I guess it just depends on how you look at it. Because in my mind, I said, if you're a believer, it's an act of kindness. It's an act of love. And God wants us to share our love and kindness with other people. And this is just one way to do it. There are people that are struggling that don't have anybody to turn to for help. And so there's different programs and stuff out there for those people. And I guess if you've never been truly at rock bottom where, you've needed one of those programs for help, whether it's, the Ronald McDonald House, they help kids with cancer or, whatever the case may be, then you're not really going to understand how important those services can be. I mean, in some situations, it literally can be life or death. So, Cooperation instead of competition. Like, if you want to participate, you can, but it's not a competition. And don't surround yourself with people that make everything a competition. All right, from the Namaste deck, we've got crack a routine. What was I talking about earlier about the routine? Sometimes it's not a bad thing to, break out of the routine, but for a lot of us, we just function better if we're able to establish a routine. But, life has a way of throwing a wrench in the gears for sure. All right, we all like established routines that are familiar and effective. The problem is when we get caught up in the same cycle, we reduce our ability to bring new things into our lives that we can learn from. Crack a routine today. It could be something as simple as how you make breakfast or how you get ready for work. If you want to take it up a notch, try talking to people whom you rarely engage with. See if you can cultivate a new relationship. Changing a routine can help bring new wonders into our lives and help us integrate new perspectives that allow us to learn and grow. I laughed when it said the thing about breakfast because I'm literally going to do a video later for my other channel for the overnight oats. I've seen a lot of that online here lately, and I did kind of my version of it, but it wasn't overnight. But I even ordered the special jars to where I can meal prep, to where I can do, the jars came in a set of 6, so I can do 6 days at one time. I may not do that many at first. I think I'm only going to do 3 at first, but nonetheless, changing up my routine a little bit. A lot of us have a tendency to get stuck in a routine, especially when it comes to our food. Eating the same things all the time, especially, when we're in a phase of, watching what we eat or just trying to make healthier choices. Maybe from a lack of knowledge, we just eat the same things over and over again because we don't really have the knowledge of what our options are, right? Okay, now we're going to get some angel numbers out here. Making time for solitude. It's been a while since we've seen that, but nonetheless, it doesn't change the fact of how important that is. There for a while, it was really a hot topic in our conversations about really if the quiet time doesn't come naturally, scheduling that quiet time, like making time for the quiet time. For some of us, that's, more easily acquired than for others. But nonetheless, that doesn't take away the importance of it. Number 11, patience. 404 on the bottom of the deck, mind energy. And 44, take a risk. So 11, 404, and 44. Patience, calm, reflection, understanding, timing, awareness, and thoughtfulness. Changes are coming into your life, and you need to be aware of them. Don't rush to conclusions before you have all the information. Taking your time will prevent harm to others and ensure thoughtful decisions. In what areas of my life do I need to practice more patience and wait for the full picture to emerge? Today, focus on being mindful and taking things one step at a time, trusting that the right answers will come with time and clarity. We've talked about patience is not something that comes natural to all of us. Patience is a virtue that I really had to learn. And it still doesn't come easy to me. taking time to slow down and enjoy the process. I think it came up in the last video where we talked about, really being in the present moment, focusing on the here and now, not drifting back to the past, not projecting ourselves into the future, but just being in the moment, being thoughtful, being aware of all the little things that we have to be grateful for, or maybe things that we need to work on during that time of waiting, during that time of transition. It talks about a change coming. A lot of times, I think this came up in the last video too. We get in those phases of transition where, like, we have one foot in our new cycle, but we still have one foot in the old cycle because doors are closing, bridges are burning. We're still having to kind of end some things, let go of some things, gain some new things before we can completely transition. So going back to the very beginning where we talked about the mountains, we all have different mountains that we're climbing, and sometimes we're learning, most of the time, we're learning those skills as we go. So we're not keeping a steady pace. We may have to stop for a breather every now and then and gain some new insight or perspective. All right, then 404, mind energy, focus, determination, preparation, mental strength, clarity, resolve, and future readiness. Prepare your mind for future challenges. Mental strength and focus will help you overcome obstacles with determination and hard work. What mental habits do I need to strengthen in order to be fully prepared for future challenges? What were we talking about at the very beginning about preparing your mind in the morning or whenever you start your day? Preparing your mind, or when maybe you're fixing to tackle a big project, really taking the time and having the patience to make sure that you're ready, preparing, focusing, future readiness. Set aside time each day for mindfulness or mental exercises that can improve your focus and clarity. Visualize yourself successfully overcoming future obstacles. Setting smaller goals to accomplish the bigger goal. We talk about that often. When you set a goal, 9 times out of 10, it's a big goal, like it's a big accomplishment. And most of the time, the reason you haven't achieved that goal yet is because there's still stuff that you need to learn. There's still action that needs to be taken. There's still preparations that need to be made to get us there. A lot of mental energy today. Everything from cracking the routine to focusing on your goals. But going back to what I was saying about setting the smaller goals to accomplish the bigger goal. Okay, as an example, you want to travel overseas, right? But you've never been overseas before. You don't know what is required to make that possible. So, hypothetically, we're working on a bucket list. Part of your bucket list is you want to travel somewhere overseas. Okay. So part of that process is doing the research, right? Having the patience, taking the time to educate yourself, to learn what paperwork are you going to need? What do you have to do to get a passport? Are there certain medical requirements? Are there certain financial requirements? All those things that go into making that possible. Yes, that's a great goal. But if you just sit there and you don't do the work to prepare you for that, Then you're going to show up to the airport, you've bought your ticket, da 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 da, but then they ask you for your passport and you don't have one. You know what I mean? So taking the time to evaluate what those small steps need to be. 44, take a risk, courage, initiative, creativity, planning, realism, and boldness. So being realistic. Yes, it's a dream, but that doesn't mean that you can't put realistic goals and steps to make that dream a reality. Now is a good time to take action on tasks that require intuitive creativity and risk taking. Get organized and make plans with realistic expectations of success rather than waiting for things to change on their own. What did I say back in the very beginning about, if you just stay in one place, change isn't going to happen. Things have to move. Things have to occur for change to occur. What specific risks can I take right now that align with my goals and creativity? Identify one area where you can take a calculated risk and make a concrete plan to move forward with confidence and realistic expectations. So yes, we call it a dream, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. And in order to make it happen, we have to set realistic goals, realistic expectations. And yeah, we're probably going to have to put in some work. Footwork, brain work, soul work, whatever. All right, now we'll pull from the Celestial Insights. Don't be afraid to take a risk. It's one of those things where it's like, it's better to take a risk and stumble than to never try and live your life with regret. Regret is a bitter emotion and one very difficult to overcome once it has rooted. It's possible, but it's hard and it's painful. All right, Celestial Insights. True love came right out. Barrier maze on the bottom of the deck. And marriage. Wow. And I don't think it's been that long since we saw any of these. Sacred union was under barrier maze. And admiration was under marriage. Of course, when you see true love, that doesn't necessarily mean with another person. That could be going back to what we talked about earlier with the self-love. That could be learning how to truly love yourself. But it didn't waste any time coming out of there. True love is a deep soul connection. Are you searching for it? Trust that it's out there. But remember to love yourself first. True love will follow naturally. What did I say earlier about how we teach people how to treat us? We teach people how to love us. If we're not loving on ourselves, other people are going to notice that. Other people are going to see that. All right, then we got marriage. Marriage is a blend of love, trust, and responsibility. Are you considering a deeper commitment? Ensure you are ready for the responsibilities and challenges that come with it. Yes, it has not been that long since we saw that card, because last time when we saw that card, we talked about a job, a commitment in general, not necessarily just a marriage, a commitment of your time, your effort, your energy. Make sure that you take the time to pause and think about the commitment that you're making, the risk that you're taking. Going back to angel number 44, take a risk. Barrier maze. Confusion may feel overwhelming, but remember that every maze has an exit. You might be struggling with difficult problems, but shifting your perspective could reveal the solution. I talked about that already this morning, looking at things from a different perspective. We've gotten where it's talked about clarity several times out here this morning. And I talk about it often about being able to look at things from a non emotional perspective so that you can get a different view of the situation, whatever that situation is. And also going back to what we talked about earlier about communicating with other people. You know, sometimes sharing your story, your situation, your concerns, whatever, with another person, being willing to open up and communicate honestly and authentically with another person offers the opportunity for that person to help you see it from a different perspective. All right, now we'll pull from the Mystical Dreams deck. This is one of the newer decks. I don't know what I dreamed about last night, but I woke up crying this morning. And then it's been several nights ago. I couldn't remember the whole dream when I woke up. The only thing I could remember from the dream was I was talking about making a penny wall. You know, excuse me, when I've seen it before, I've seen people do it on the floor. You know, where they put a whole bunch of pennies on the floor and then they cover it with that epoxy. In the dream, I was talking about making a penny wall. And that's the only thing I could remember when I woke up. And you know, now that I'm thinking about it now, that would also make like a really cool like coffee table or countertop. That would be pretty cool. All right. Unlock the secret of your dreams. Cat and floating on the cut as we get started. Oh, wow. Cat still on the bottom of the deck. Black and white energy. Light and dark. The cat signifies a silent but powerful presence, urging you to pay attention to the unsaid. In dreams, the cat is a call from your spiritual depth, encouraging you to observe the unseen in people, situations, and overlooked emotions. The cat asks you not to seek answers, but to notice the silent signals. Your deepest wisdom often comes from silence. Okay, so side note, story time. I guess for like the past week now, maybe a little bit longer than that, this cat has started showing up at my door. I call it a she. I don't know if it's a he or she, but she lays on my front porch on my little mat that I've got out there. And where she lays, the dogs can see her out the living room window. And they, of course, they raise hell when she's out there. But I've fed her twice. But the first time I noticed her, I guess it's probably been closer to 2 weeks, is one night where I ended up working late and I didn't come. I guess it was like 10:30 when I got home. And when I came in, of course, I was on my bike and I had my headlight on, and my headlight shined on her on the hood of my truck. That's where she was at. And she doesn't come every day. Mountains, look at that. She doesn't come every day, or at least if she does, I don't realize it. She might come while I'm at work or whatever. Clouds on the bottom of the deck. Clouds was very significant in our last video. And lover on the top of the deck. So anyways, you know, I was always a cat lover growing up. I had cats way before I ever had my first dog. But so that's very interesting that card showed itself. And another thing too, I don't think I shared it here on YouTube. I know I shared it on Facebook. I share a lot more of my personal stuff on Facebook than I do on YouTube. But separate story, same front porch, there was this huge spider. And I don't actually, now that I'm talking about it and thinking about it, I think it was the same night that she was here. But I came home from, it had to have been because it's not very often that I work that late to where it's dark when I get home. But at first, it was on the same living room window that the dogs look out when they see the cat. Well, it was there for a couple days. I mean, this is a huge spider, dude. When it's stretched out, it's like that big with its legs and everything. But then it moved to my front door. And the other morning, I guess it's been 2 or 3 mornings ago, I I actually left out my back door because when I was leaving, it was so early in the morning that it was still dark. Of course, once the daylight comes out, they go into hiding. They work at nighttime. So, anyways, 2 correlating stories and not long before the spider thing happened, I saw a video online where it was talking about the spiritual meaning of a spider building its nest or building its web in your doorway. And for me, the fact that the spider had an already elaborate web over the window, and then after I saw that video, the spider moved to my door. Anyways, okay, enough story time. Mountains. Mountains already came up from our mantra and our scripture this morning. Mountains symbolize high aspirations and significant challenges. Dreaming of mountains indicates you're on a challenging path, but possess the strength to overcome it. True victory lies not in reaching the peak, but in the growth of your will and resilience during the climb. What did I say? I love it. The mountain encourages you to stay grounded, calm, and tackle obstacles one step at a time. It's about the journey, not the destination. That was a very strong energy in our last video. The Climb by Miley Cyrus. That's a good song. If you've never heard it, go listen to it. It's very motivational. It's all about the climb. It's about the resilience and the strength that's built during the climb, the knowledge that is gained, the skills that are discovered. All right. Then Clouds. I find it very interesting that came out because I'm pretty sure it was the last video, or at least one of the most recent videos where clouds was significant. Clouds symbolize the shifting nature of thoughts and emotions, often representing confusion or uncertainty. Dreaming of clouds suggests that you are in a period of transition. What did we already talk about? Where the direction of your future isn't yet clear. It encourages you to slow down and navigate through the mist, knowing clarity will emerge when you least expect it. Triple confirmation on the clarity. And I talked about slowing down. Taking time to smell the roses. Taking time to absorb and even implement the knowledge that is gained on the journey. Then we have Lover. This scene very much reminds me of the scene from Avatar with all the things hanging down from the tree and it all lit up. A lover in your dream represents a deep emotional connection and spiritual contract. Dreaming of a lover suggests you are undergoing an emotional transformation or exploring a deeper need for intimacy. It reflects your emotional state, possibly indicating a shift in your romantic relationships or a longing for a connection with your inner self. So going back what we talked about earlier with the true love, this the lover is can indicate, needing to love on yourself better, not giving all that love and energy to other people. Yes, sharing it, but make sure that you're not depleting your own resources. All right. Now we'll pull from the double decker deck. Echoes of the Soul Oracle. This is the one that's the 2-part deck, which is really weird to me, but I don't think... I keep saying I'm going to quit saying that, but I'll probably say that every time I pull this deck. Echoes of the Soul. Paying attention to your mind energy. Being patient with yourself. Being patient with your soul. What does your soul need? A lot of times people can come into our lives to show us things that maybe we didn't even know we were lacking. And then we see it in somebody else and we're like, man, I want me some of that. And it gives us a new goal, something to work on, something to heal, something to build, something to restore, whatever, it'll be different depending on what it is. All right, Echoes of the Soul Oracle. Forgiveness, solitude, and positivity. I can spend my day feeling daunted, or I can spend it climbing over the thing that's daunting me. Urban Reverie. I think we recently got that one because I was talking about how that looks like a scene from a movie. 1:02:11 when I looked at the timer. The Raven's Judgment. Okay, Urban Reverie is 23. The Raven's Judgment, number 20. Raven. Didn't we have a crow in one of our cards? Yes, in the Ginkgo card. Crows and ravens look very similar. That could actually be a raven, and I just mistook it for a crow. But they're in the same family. And then we got the Urban Visionary, number 10. So the Urban Visionary, the Urban Reverie, and the Raven's Judgment. 10, 20, and 23. All right, so let's see. We'll just go in numerical order. The first one, the Urban Visionary. Key themes. Ambition, individuality, boldness, determination, leadership, thriving amidst complexity. Message. In the heart of the city's chaos lies an opportunity to rise above the noise and carve your own path. The Urban Visionary calls on you to stand tall, embrace your individuality, and claim your space in the world. Your ambition is your compass, guiding you toward your dreams even when the landscape feels overwhelming, kind of like a mountain. Boldness is your ally. Dare to shine brightly and unapologetically as you pursue your goals. Guidance. This card is a rally call to embrace your inner visionary. You may find yourself navigating a fast-paced, competitive environment, going back to the cooperation instead of competition. But within you lies the clarity and the strength to thrive. Clarity again. Trust in your unique perspective and don't be afraid to take up space. Be unapologetic in your ambition and remember that even the loftiest dreams are built step by step, day by day. Fresh start over in each and every way. You remember that show? What was that? Family Matters? Step by step, day by day. I think that was Family Matters. Um, the urban visionary reminds you that leadership begins with self confidence and a willingness to forge your own way regardless of external noise or expectations. Affirmation: I am bold, ambitious, and unapologetically myself. I trust my vision and take confident steps toward the life I desire. Actionable insight. Today, identify one area where you can show up more boldly, whether it's sharing an idea, taking initiative on a project, or expressing your ambitions openly. Take one small but significant step in that direction and celebrate your courage to stand tall in your individuality. Reflection. The urban visionary reminds you that ambition and individuality are your greatest tools for success. The city's chaos, the demands of life, and the world around you is not a hindrance, but a backdrop for your brilliance. When you dare to rise above the noise and calm your space with confidence, claim your space with confidence, your dreams are no longer distant. They are within reach. What's your next bold step as an urban visionary? How will you let your light shine brighter in the world today? I mean, there's nothing really more that I can add to that. Being confident in who you are and the choices that you make. Don't let fear hold you back. Setting those smaller goals to accomplish a bigger goal, knowing that nothing happens overnight, but you have to start somewhere. Yes, you may be starting at the bottom, but that's just your starting point. That doesn't mean you have to stay there. You know, it's not a competition with other people. The only person you're competing with is yourself. And that's all of us. Revival, nurture, breakthrough. Nurture yourself, and the breakthrough will come eventually. It's just a matter of time. All right, now number 20, the Raven's Judgment. Key themes: shadow work, consequences, accountability, transformation, self-forgiveness, and lessons from the past. We talked about shadow work when I talked about standing in the shadow of the mountain. We talked about self-forgiveness when we got the forgiveness affirmation. Forgiving yourself, doing the shadow work so that the transformation can occur. Message: the raven watches, a silent witness to the choices that shape your path. Its presence asks you to confront the shadows of your past, those actions, decisions, or moments left unresolved. The weight of these shadows may feel heavy, but within them lies the potential for transformation. Accountability is not a punishment, but a liberation, a chance to learn, grow, and reclaim your power. The Raven's Judgment reminds you that only through acknowledgement can you rewrite the story and embrace the freedom that follows. Guidance. This card calls for introspection and honesty. It asks you to reflect on past actions and decisions that may still linger in your thoughts. What was I talking about earlier about that regret? Perhaps you feel guilt, regret, or uncertainty about how to move forward. The Raven's Judgment does not bring blame, but offers an opportunity for healing through accountability and self-awareness. By acknowledging your missteps and making amends, whether with others or yourself, You transform the shadows into lessons that empower your journey. Trust that in facing these truths, you create space for renewal and freedom. Affirmation: I face my past with courage and compassion. Through accountability, I transform shadows into lessons and reclaim my power. Actionable insight: identify one unresolved situation or lingering regret that feels ready to be addressed. Take a step toward resolution, whether it's having an honest conversation, offering an apology, or forgiving yourself. Approach this action with patience and self compassion, trusting that even small steps lead to meaningful transformation. Reflection: the raven's judgment reminds you that the past need not define you, but it does hold wisdom when you're willing to face it. By acknowledging and understanding your shadows, you step into your power to create a brighter and more intentional future. This process is not about perfection, but about growth, resilience, and the courage to embrace your truth. What truth does the raven's judgment reveal to you today? How will you use it to transform your path forward? It came up a lot, I think, in the last video where we talked about being able to be honest with yourself, taking accountability, and using that instead of placing blame, taking accountability and using that accountability to help push you forward, to help you grow, to help you learn about yourself and, why we make the decisions that we make. And, usually when we dig down to the root of that, we learn that a lot of times the bad decisions that we make, or I don't even really want to say bad decisions, but the decisions that cause conflict or cause us to regret stem from a place of trauma, that trauma distorts our view. I hope that makes sense. But I think in a lot of ways, those decisions that we feel like led us down the wrong path, we really were on the right path. We just weren't going where we thought we were going, right? Excuse me. Okay, now we have urban reverie. A lot of urban energy out here today. All right, key themes: reflection, solitude, navigating the unknown, clarity amidst chaos, and self-discovery. We got, that's a double confirmation on the solitude. We got the solitude affirmation this morning. Message: in the bustling rhythm of the urban landscape, clarity can feel elusive. Yet even amidst the noise and movement, there are quiet moments waiting to reveal themselves. Urban reverie invites you to pause and reflect, to find stillness in the chaos and listen to the whispers of your inner world. The answers you seek are already within you, hiding in the quiet corners of your mind. Take a moment to breathe, observe, and navigate the unknown with trust and curiosity. We also got solitude in the affirmations. So that's like quadruple confirmation on the solitude. Taking the time, making the time for that quiet time, so that you can hear yourself think. Guidance. This card encourages you to embrace a moment of solitude and introspection, even in the midst of a busy or overwhelming environment. Your surroundings, whether physical or emotional. What did I say at the very beginning? Oh, my bad. I just need the desk. I talked about that when we got those cards this morning. Whether it's physical chaos, emotional chaos, spiritual chaos. But within them lies the opportunity for clarity and self-discovery. Urban Reverie suggests that the answers you seek will emerge when you take time to reflect and align with your inner truth. Trust in the process of navigating the unknown and remember that stillness often reveals what action cannot. Affirmation. Amid the chaos of life, I find clarity in reflection. I trust my inner wisdom to guide me through the unknown. Actionable insight. Take a walk this week, either physically through your neighborhood or metaphorically through your thoughts in a journaling session. Observe how your environment or mental patterns influence your state of mind. Identify one small shift you can make, whether it's adjusting your surroundings, your routine, or your mindset to create more space for reflection and clarity. Crack a routine. We got that with the Namaste deck. Reflection. Urban Reverie reminds you that even the busiest landscapes hold pockets of stillness where wisdom can emerge. By pausing and reflecting, you gain the clarity needed to navigate life's unknowns with confidence and trust. What quiet corners of your inner world are waiting to be explored? How will you embrace the stillness amidst the chaos? That kind of goes back to what I talked about earlier when I was talking about, the bitter and the sweet. You're going to have times in your life where it's calm, it's quiet, it's peaceful, it's just a steady flow. But then you're going to have other times where you got raging waters. And how are you going to maintain your same energy even though the energy around you changes? That's the goal. Can you still find joy amidst the chaos? Can you still embrace the quietness even when the world around you is so loud? All right. Now we'll pull from the Nature Seasons deck, which is also one of the new decks. I'm probably going to end up having to go back and watch the last video because I really feel like we're getting a lot of the same messages here with the mountains and the clouds. Clouds, I remember, was very significant last time. Whether you should look up more. Don't always look down. Look up. Pay attention to the clouds. Pay attention to above. But also like a clouded mind, clouded judgment. What was that? Passion and energy, fire, just like bent. It's time to ignite the passion within you. Let this flame light your enthusiasm for life and propel you toward exciting goals. Let go of your worries and devote yourself to what you truly love. We're going to put it back in there, but I wanted to read it because it basically almost bent in half. Getting my attention, I guess. These cards are still pretty slippery, and they're not broken at all yet. All right, reminder of our angel numbers, 11, 404, and 44. We also got number 10, number 20, and 23. 14, 39, 52, and 26. All right, we got dolphin, and look at that, passion and energy, fire on the bottom of the deck. That's what we just read. Wisdom and harmony with the dolphin card. All right. Nature's seasons. Balance and harmony, spring equinox, and freedom and strength, horse. We've got bear, strength and courage on the bottom of the deck. And stability and support, earth, on the top of the deck. All right, horse, freedom and strength. That's a pretty picture. Horses are so smart. Like the horse, release yourself from constraints and pursue the life that truly belongs to you. Nothing can stop you as long as you dare to chase your dreams. Power and freedom will be with you. What did we talk about earlier? It doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters is the fact that you keep picking yourself back up with strength, with courage, and you keep pushing forward. Balance and harmony, spring equinox. Once again, the light and the dark energy, just like in the cat card. The spring equinox symbolizes the balance of day and night, reminding you to seek harmony and balance in your life. Today is a time to reflect on all areas of your life and find inner peace and stability. Look at that. We got stability and support in the earth card. So getting grounded, stability and support, earth. You need to find your inner stability, ground yourself, and feel the earth's support and peace. Take a moment to focus on what makes you feel safe and reconnect with your sense of trust. Going back to what we talked about earlier, trusting yourself, trusting your intuition. Strength and courage, bear. It's the moment to show courage and determination. Whatever challenges come your way, remain steady and confident like the bear. It's a time for important decisions. Take that brave step forward with your inner strength. Going back to the angel number 44, take a risk. Trust in yourself that you've been patient, you've prepared, you've gotten focused, you've taken the time to gain awareness, to get your grounding to the point so that you can be ready to take that risk, to take that step forward, to take that leap of faith in whatever area it is. That could apply to so many different aspects of our lives. All right, now we'll get affirmations from the Affirmators deck. Last time we got clarity, confidence, and communication. Communicating honestly with yourself as well as others, but most importantly to yourself. Don't let other people's opinions of your goal, your dream, your destination affect it. It's not their journey. It's not their path. It's okay if they don't agree or understand. It was 1:23:55 when I looked at the timer. Break through the ties that bind. When I looked at the Ginkgo card, number 39, breakthrough, that's what I thought of. Break through the ties that bind. Break through the ties that bind. That's way too many. Divine timing, impermanence, personal growth, and playfulness. Interesting that divine timing was on the top of that deck. Divine timing. That one just fell on the floor. What was that? Ow. I just hit my elbow. Gentleness. Be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with others. Going back to what I said earlier about, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. You never know what other people are dealing with. Be gentle, be kind. Even if they're not doing that with you, do that with others. Because you just never know. Some of the people that are walking around here with, the strongest face and, smiling and happy, and those are really the ones that we should worry about. Everyone's a teacher. I'm getting kind of choked up thinking about that, Going back to what I was saying before that fell on the floor, why so serious? Heath Ledger, the Joker. I mean, several people played the character of the Joker, but that's the one I thought of was Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger, Robin Williams, there's so many different examples of people that, behind closed doors, they were really struggling. But on the outside, nobody would have ever known. Everyone's a teacher. We can learn something from people, even if they've passed on. Going back to our grief affirmation, we never lose the ones we love, even to death. They carry on in every thought, act, and decision we make. We can learn from them, even though we're already gone. How did they live? How did they treat people? How did they teach us to treat people? And how did they, did they show us what we shouldn't do, or did they show us what we should do? I don't know why I'm still shuffling. Everyone's a teacher. Everyone I cross paths with is a teacher in that moment. The ones who give me the fun lessons are the ones I call friends. The ones who give me the hard lessons I sometimes call a-holes. They've chosen a tough job, but someone's got to do it. So today I'm thanking all the a-holes. Thank you for playing your part in making me a better person. So there's always something to be learned. Even if it's not necessarily, a good, happy, positive situation, there's always something to be learned. Whether it's learning something about yourself, learning something about somebody else, just learning something about the world around you. Maybe, it opens your eyes to a part of the world that you didn't even know existed. A lot. I know for a long time, and even still in a lot of ways, I'm very naive to the ways of this world. And, sometimes, in most cases, it takes something really bad happening to snap you out of it and be like, yeah, this is a pretty dark place we live in. There's a lot of messed up stuff going on behind the scenes in society and the world as a whole, and trickling down to the individual households. There's some dark, dirty, scary, crazy stuff that goes on in this world. And when you're not like that and your mind doesn't work like that, when you understand that those things are going on, it really kind of forces you to look at the world in a completely different perspective. Like, to really help you. For me, it really helped me appreciate just my life in general. Like, I thought my life was bad, and I thought my life was hard. I thought my life was messed up, and sure, it was. But there's people in this world and in this life that have gone through so much more, and it helps me be empathetic. It helps me be understanding. It helps me to not be so quick to judge other people. You never know what other people have been through, what they're currently going through, the pain that they've endured. None of us have the right to judge or critique anybody's pain. The best thing we can do is, radiate warmth and sincerity. That's the best thing we can do for ourselves and for the people that we come in contact with. Be soft, be gentle, be sympathetic, be understanding. Don't be judgmental. Don't critique every little move that people make. And don't get me wrong, the devil comes knocking on that door for me every day. Here lately, the thing that's been getting me is people that drag their feet. Like literally. Like they put holes in the bottom of their shoes because they drag their feet. And it's like, just pick up your feet. Like, is it that hard to walk? Like that's the bad side of me, the judgmental side of me. But, you know, I don't know. That person could have had a stroke. That person could have some kind of physical health issue that makes it to where they walk like that. You know what I'm saying? So just don't be so quick. I'm saying that for myself as well as everybody else. We just never know. It's not our place to judge. It's our place to be kind and helpful. And if you can't, that old saying, I used to get it a lot when I was a kid. If you can't say anything nice, then don't say anything at all. If you don't have anything nice to say, then just keep your mouth shut. It's not that hard. All right, we got penguin and kestrel. Kestrel. Let's see what. Meadowlark on the bottom of the deck and seagull on the top of the deck. This is the Animal Allies Birds deck. I don't think it's been that long since we've seen the penguin card. If I'm not mistaken, the penguin card is the one that talks about skills. Yep. Penguin superpowers: dreaming, astral projection, adaptability, family, using standard skills in unusual ways, community, innovation, and persistence. Penguin wisdom: there are always ways to find new uses for established skills. Repurposing the familiar to make something new is a good use of effort and time. When penguin appears, pay attention to your dreams. Practice trying to direct them before you fall asleep or when you're in a liminal state. The very same skills needed for directing your dreams can alter your waking life too. Penguin wants you to know it's possible this whole life thing is all a dream. Make it what you want it to be. I think I've shared this story before, so I'll just give like a Cliff Notes version. But I have a memory of when I was a little girl. And honestly, I don't know if it's an actual memory or if it was a dream that I just remember. But it was my great-grandfather, my mom's dad's dad. And we were sitting on the front porch on Ma Thomas's porch in the porch swing. And the only part I remember is he's wearing a flannel shirt. And he looked down at me and he said, "It's all just a dream. And when you die, you actually wake up." And every time we get this penguin card, I think of that memory. Because honestly, I don't know if I don't know if that was a dream I had or if that event actually happened. All right. Kestrel superpowers. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've got this card. Keen awareness, psychic ability, uplifting others, hovering above the den, patience. There's patience again, going with our angel number 11. Laser focus, sharing responsibilities, making careful choices. Going back to the cooperation instead of competition, teamwork, working together with a team instead of making it a competition. Wisdom, pausing to view the bigger picture before making any rash moves is wise. Sussing out existing currents and using them to help you along allows you to move forward and go easy at the same time. So what did I say earlier about going with the flow? When this card appears, ask your inner voice what you need to know in this moment to choose the best path for yourself. Dig deep into potential pros and cons. Trust your decisions. Kestrel wants you to know there's a current or flow waiting for you to hop on that'll carry you on your way. It will propel you forward, while also allowing you to rest as needed. It's okay to let the elements do some work for you. So Teamwork makes the dream work. Cooperation instead of competition. That, and we did get marriage as well. So a team effort. That could be like a physical person, or that could also be working with your spiritual team, your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course the Most High. Everyone's a teacher. Don't be so quick to judge other people. You know, look at this. In this picture, one is a rhino and one is a mouse. Look, he's like a big old tough guy with tattoos and stuff, and he's got the graduation hat on, and then you got the mouse, the rat down there with the graduation hat on. Don't let looks be deceiving. You know, just because, kind of like that guru energy, just because somebody doesn't look like a guru. I mean, come on, what does a guru look like? Just because somebody doesn't look like they know what they're talking about doesn't mean they don't know what they're talking about. Don't judge a book by its cover. But at the same time, listen to your intuition. Listen to your gut. Listen to your spirit. It'll tell you if somebody's full of shit. I'm just saying. If you're, if you've made it to that point on your journey to where you're truly connected with your own energy, we talk about that here a lot. Taking the time to understand what your energy feels like. That way you'll know and understand and be able to perceive how other people's energy is affecting your energy, right? All right, now we'll get an Archangel of Fire oracle. Last time we got Raphael and Chamuel. Pink and green. We got the twins on the bottom of the deck, number 35, as we're getting started. Archangel Fire Oracle by Alexandria Weinman. Another form of self-love is also appreciating the gifts that you have. Appreciating what you bring to the table. Going back to the teamwork and the cooperation. Visualize abundance in all forms. It's safe for you to receive. Crack a routine. Embrace your strength and courage. As you're seeking your stability and support. When you find that balance and harmony, the freedom that comes from having that balance and harmony. I've talked about it here a lot, the value of your peace of mind. Look at that. A nutshell. Cameo on the bottom of the deck. I wasn't ready for that one. Azrael, also in green. Metatron on the bottom of the deck. Gagiel on top of the deck. It has not been that long since we saw her. The last time we got her, we had real strong divine feminine energy, and it's already come up out here today. All right, so Gagiel number 16, Azrael number 18, and Metatron number 31. Your power comes from God and is the essence of love. Do not be afraid to use your power for good. Claim back your sovereignty and give yourself permission to follow your inner guidance. Take control of the steering wheel of your life. Choose your direction. Going back to that goal. Which way are you going to go? The barrier maze. Confusion may feel overwhelming, but remember that every maze has an exit. You might be struggling with different problems, but shifting your perspective could reveal the solution. All right, 18, Azrael. Transitions. You are at a major point of transition. Release all that is currently falling away with love. Remember that after death, there always comes rebirth. If you have pulled pulled this card following the loss of a loved one, this message comes as validation that the angels are guiding their way safely through the veil. So, if you've lost a loved one and you wondered, if they made it to the other side, there's your confirmation right there. And Metatron, ancient wisdom. You are crowned with the light of source because you are the divine incarnate. Walk upon the earth as an angel, and life shall conspire to lift you up. Wisdom is available to those who truly follow the integrity of their heart. So leading with integrity, going back to what we were talking about earlier, not being so judgmental, not being so critical of other people or yourself. All right, now we'll pull from the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Last time we got confusion. Once again, with confusion comes clarity. Be patient. Find that quiet time. Really do some inner searching, some inner shadow work. Be patient with yourself. Get your mind energy right and get ready to take a risk. Get things in order. Get organized, whether that's your thoughts, your emotions, your material world, your spiritual world. Get ready to climb that mountain. Get your head out of the clouds. Find balance, find harmony, embrace your strength. I just realized with the nature seasons cards, strength is out here twice. On the horse card, it's freedom and strength, and on the bear card, it's strength and courage. Have the courage to embrace the areas where you have your strength. What are you good at? Take the time to find that out, and that will offer stability and support. So going back to that, could be like talking about a career, a job, a lifestyle, family, friends, different environments. Going back to the very beginning, being able to stand your ground. We had joy is what flew out, but we had despondence flip over and wisdom flipped over. Pretty sure we saw wisdom not too long ago. So purple and green. Wisdom and despondence, that's heart chakra, which lines up with our chakra affirmation that we got this morning with the green and the heart chakra. And then the despondence, purple, that is your third eye chakra. Biblically, the third eye is referred to as the lamp of the soul. Joy is yellow, which is pretty sure that's sacral chakra. I don't know why I just did that. Put that away without the book in it. I heard the cards rattling around. Okay, joy. Yeah, the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra. Let's just jump and see what happens. That leap of faith, the legend. We don't know much about Dancing Daisy, but we do know that she brings joy wherever she appears. Everyone who sees her becomes happier and more peaceful. Arguments cease as she comes close. People are even healed physically as a result of her presence. No one knows where she came from, and just before the TV crews arrive, she leaves. So like healing energy, a healer energy. Inspiration. Dancing Daisy represents a new joyous phase in life and a significant change, such as a move, a new job, or marriage. Double confirmation on the marriage energy. This is the moment after the leap. You may not see where you're going, but you will land on your feet. That leap of faith energy for sure. Personal inquiry. What can I do to invite happiness into my life? Being present is not the same as truly experiencing something. What were we talking about? About being in the moment. Key ideas. A conduit for joy. That's triple confirmation on the conduit energy. Detached from joy, higher purpose, profoundly impacting lives, improved health, a birth. Key words: joy, playfulness, and delight. Once we learn to embrace our own inner joy, we are able to share and spread that joy with others. Going back to what I talked about this morning, when you love and care for yourself enough to where your cup is full for so long that it starts to overflow, it starts to overflow in the way that you're able to share that energy, that love, that care, that understanding, that empathy with others. All right, now we're going to pull from the Wandering Heart Oracle. Last time we had number 25, Shelter. After this, we've got Mary Magdalene, and then we'll be done for the day. I hope everybody's having a peaceful, positive, productive day today so far. If not, I pray that your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course the Most High help you with that today. I also pray that He clothes us in His armor from head to toe, that He strengthens our discernment and guides our steps as we go throughout this day. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, Ashe. Shelter came right back out. We also got familiarity, number 30. And restore, number 10. We also saw number 10 in the Echoes of the Soul Oracle. We got Caged Bird, number 24, on the bottom of the deck. And we got Loves Me Not, number 31, on the top of the deck. All right, so going in numerical order, we got 10, 25, and 30. Restore, breathe easy, rekindle, retreat. Love is in the air, sparks are flying again. You feel confident, full, and refreshed. You're elated from the inside out. Your heart is open to the possibility of new love or giving a familiar love a second chance. Look at that. We got familiarity. There is no resistance. Your mind is made up. You've spent enough time meditating on definite feedback from within. You are allowing yourself to be open. You find that transparency is powerful. Vulnerability brings harmony within. Here you crave connection. You have spent plenty of time in isolation, learning about yourself and learning about others. Colorful opportunities are headed your way. Open your arms to them. Blessings are in store for you. Then you got number 25, Shelter, which is the same one we got last time, which is crazy that it came right back out. A place of no suffering, precaution, and privacy. You hold access to mountains of ancestors who stream fortune directly into your being, making sure you are impenetrable and full. The hardships they faced were not meant to be passed down or adopted. In fact, their wishes for solace led you here. They refuse to rest until you find refuge. Stress is played out. The abuse in every form is unacceptable. Now is the time to tackle unfinished business so you can come back home to yourself. Refrain from condoning absurdity. Detach from your experiences. Do not empower them to hang over your head. Do not rush or act too suddenly. Calculate every move and figure out what's worth your energy and what isn't. Nurture what matters most to you. You've decided to journey backward. You miss the untroubled version of yourself. You shut people out for a while, knowing there is work to be done. You worry that others have an overwhelming effect on you. Too many opinions, too much judgment and influence. Time to make up your own mind. Who are you when it's just you? It came up last time. It's come up a few times with that card and in the energy, but that song, Blake Shelton, Who Are You When I'm Not Looking? That's a very good song. All right, and then we got familiarity. I have a really hard time saying that word, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's because I'm tongue tied, but I don't know. Maintain your roots, simplicity, and fluency. This card represents home. Favor gravitates towards you effortlessly. Your energy is balanced, not stagnant. No static is present. You feel both seen and understood. Your loved ones admire you and you them. There's an undeniable prosperity in the air. Now is a good time to manifest all of your true passions. You are living in a moment that feels supernatural, as if you've been here before. They say that's a good thing. Confirmation. You have all the support you need due to your inner peace. You are bound to attract impressive blessings. Visualize a fascinating life and watch it find its way. That's literally everything that we've already talked about this morning. You know, oh, I totally just did that. Those all just fell on the floor. Well, not all of them. There's like, let's see which ones stayed. Caged Bird, number 24. Kin, number 17. Follow Your Heart, number 37. Certainty, number 29. 11, Alchemy. 32, Two-Face. 12, Honeymoon. 18, Evil Eye. And 31, Loves Me Not. The rest of them are on the floor. So that in itself could be a sign of however you want to take that. That's how the cookie crumbles. What Jim Carrey movie is that? The one where he's the weatherman. That's how the cookie crumbles. London Bridge is falling down. That you've got to let it fall. You have to let everything fall apart so that you can rebuild it on a solid foundation. That's usually about how it goes. All right, now we'll pull from Mary Magdalene and we'll be done for the day. Last time we got the third power. Humility is my greatest strength. A lot of strength energy out here. Embrace the strengths that you do have. Take the time to work on areas where maybe you're not as strong. Even so much as adapting old skills for a new task to help you get through the maze. Like knowledge that you may have that can be applied in a different way to help you through the maze. All right, Mary, full of grace, what advice can you give us today? The true human. I am fully human and fully divine. Look, she's got a lion in this card with her, which in the traditional tarot, the lion is the strength card. Freedom. I am called here to be free on the bottom of the deck. And the heart. I carry a cathedral within me. Love never ends on the top of the deck. All right, the true human, page 82. Christ says in Mary's gospel, be on guard so that no one deceives you by saying, look over here or look over there. For the child of true humanity exists within you. Referencing Mary chapter 4 verses 3 through 5. The phrase child of true humanity comes from a Greek word and means more literally fully human and fully divine. So a true human being in the Gospel of Mary is a paradoxical mix of a limited mortal self, the ego, and an expansive eternal soul, both equally. The goal is not to transcend the body or to try to suppress the seven powers of the ego. The point is to bring awareness to the full spectrum of what it means to be human so that we can make choices about our actions. We can practice a self-emptying love that allows us to release the ego's grasp of our attention and act only once love, not the ego, is leading us. We can listen to Christ's directive to follow the child of true humanity within us. There's no one outside of us that can do the work for us. We have to continue to return inward, to the heart, to the treasure that exists within. We have to do the work of remembering that we are not just this ego that often compels us to act in ways we can barely recognize. With mercy on our own humanity, we can remember that we are true humans. I just lost my spot. Sorry. We are meant to feel all of these difficult and derailing powers. We are also fully divine. We are also a soul of love. We are also capable of bringing love to where it has never been before. We are visionaries and sources of unlimited light. We have the unique purpose and opportunity to be both a voice of the voiceless here on earth and to act as the bridge between this world and the next. The child of true humanity exists within us, each and every one of us. No one outside of us can ever awaken us to this truth. We must turn inward and let love directly be our guide. The soul voice meditation. What does it feel like to remember that I am fully human and fully divine? To remember that we are all spiritual beings here having a human experience. We are all here for different reasons. But that does not mean that we can't help each other along the way. As always, be grateful for what you have, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. If you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. You may not only better their day, but you could possibly change their life. And you never know the impact it could have on yours. Be blessed, find peace, and I'll